Alright everyone, it's time. It's Toho time! It's time for Impossible Spell Card with Toho Replay Showcase in the audience. Let's see, LRFLEW, what you've been cooking up the last 90 days, learning a Toho game from scratch, having never played Toho before. Let's pass it on over, LRFLEW and IHNN. The floor is all yours. Take it away.
Hello, I am LRFLEW. I am running Impossible Spell Card. Here on commentary, I have my teacher, IHNN. And say hi.
Hello, it's me again.
Yep. And so, yeah, this game, during the draft stream, and I was basically in chat saying, I'm okay with anything except Toho.
You were not the only one. I found that very amusing.
Yeah, sure enough, I get Toho. So hopefully this run will go well.
Right before we started, we did actually get a donation that I feel like would be super awesome if we can read that before your run starts, if you're cool with that.
Sure, go ahead.
We got a $50 donation from Horai. Thank you so much. $50 from Horai. Saying, try and dodge this, my impossible spell card. Thank you so much for the donation, Horai.
Alrighty. So I guess if we're ready, we can go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, go. So we start off pretty simple. I just got this one to get it as close as I can to deal as much damage as quickly as I can. There's a bunch of dialogue, but it's all in Japanese, so I don't understand it. I use that item there, and then there's a whole tutorial about how to use these items to avoid attacks. And that's the first level
nimble
done.
fabric. It lets you kind of hide in the background, and any bullets that pass over you won't actually hit you. So it's just used to avoid the wave.
Yep, and that's the last we're going to be seeing of the fabric.
Yeah, it's a good item, but this one's better.
Yeah. So this is the camera, and this is the item I'm going to be using for the first part of the run, at least. That was a little early on that one. Use the second camera there.
Yeah.
Camera is quite powerful for this sort of game. And it's kind of interesting because at the start of the game, you start with 3 items, and the game starts you with not the strongest of the 3. And that's a bit of a pattern in this game. I was a little late on that one, but luckily it worked out.
Another thing, too, is that the more scenes you clear with an item, the stronger it tends to get at certain thresholds. I think the first one that we're going to be seeing is after the following scene. The camera will level up, and then I think it gets one more shot.
Or I think the camera range gets increased.
Yeah, it alternates one more photo and the camera range. Yeah, as you can see, just being able to remove a few bullets in front of you is just so powerful if it's timed carefully.
And now we've unlocked day 2, so a lot of the early run is just trying to get all of the items unlocked as quickly as possible.
Yep, so rush to the point where you get that the sub-item, and then at that point you can go back and start trying to clear everything else.
Yeah, because as good as the camera is, it is not the most powerful item in this game, and we want to get the very powerful items for some of these levels.
So this scene, 2-1, is a pretty kind of tight route. The damage is a little tight, but it is possible to find a pretty consistent way through this. And before I even considered putting this game in the draft pool, I spent a lot of time looking into a route just to try to find something that was consistent and didn't rely as much on general reading and dodging ability, and was a lot more kind of, here's a route that you can execute kind of thing. And the fact that this run is being shown here at all shows that I think that kind of succeeds, and that this genre is more approachable than it might seem at first.
Yeah, definitely huge shout-outs for the route that you made.
Yeah, in this case, it's about being on the right side and canceling several different overlapping walls of bullets at the same time so that you can make those 5 shots that you have with the camera last as long as possible.
Yeah. And then there's this one, which I have messed up a few times in practice.
Yep, this is just spin to win. So it hasn't really come up a ton so far, but the only time you actually die is when the tiny circle at the center of your character gets hit by something. So your hitbox is a lot smaller than it looks. The bullet hitboxes are also often smaller than they look. And that can allow you to make some pretty tight squeezes if it comes to that.
Yeah, and you'll sometimes see that little red dot appear, and that's when I'm holding shift, which lets me move slower as well, which is very helpful.
Yes. It also narrows...
Apologies to interject here quickly. Would you be able to very quickly pause, go to OBS, and just drag your game audio down a little bit? It looks like your game audio is clipping, so just drag it down by like 10-15 decibels further, and we'll deal with it on our end.
All right.
Yeah. Focusing also narrows the shot a little bit.
Yeah,
so that
they can just kind of see that.
You don't have to be as close to hit with everything. And of course, if there's a situation where you can't hit with everything, the center shots actually do more damage than the ones on the side.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, this is just a simple speed kill. Sometimes the easiest way of dealing with a pattern is to just get it off your screen as quickly as possible.
Yep. And then there's this one, which is very interesting. Because it looks a lot more wild than it really is, because you can get it by just making these small adjustments.
Yep, this is streaming. You just tap out of the way, and the only tricky thing is trying to get back after clearing some amulets with a photo. But the camera is actually based on two of the other scene games in the Touhou series, which are all about taking pictures of the bosses with the camera, which also clears bullets. But shooting them down is a little more straightforward. That's very clean, by the way.
Yeah, that worked out really well. And now we're on to day 3, and that is the last we see of the camera, because we get some new items. And so this one is the Yin Yang Orb, I believe?
The Bloodthirsty Yin Yang Orb. It lets you warp close to the boss.
Which is very useful in very specific situations.
Yes. I would say it's probably one of the weaker items, but the cases where it's strong, it's really strong. Yeah,
it's another case of the it defaulting to not the best item in the set. Because after this, we're going to switch to probably the second best item in this game, the bomb.
The 4-foot magic bomb. This is a mainstay. It clears bullets. The only downside is it clears bullets on a delay, so you have to place it in advance. But considering this is all pre-planned, having to place it in advance really is not much of a drawback.
I was on the wrong side of that.
Also, the general plot of this game is after the previous game, the protagonist here, Seija, is kind of on the run, and there's a bounty on her, and everybody wants it. And she's also breaking the rules, so everybody else is breaking the rules with impossible patterns. Plot twist, they're not actually impossible. Every single one of these is actually possible to do without any items. It's really hard.
Yeah, I feel like you have to be kind of crazy to go for it.
As somebody who's done it, yes, you do.
Yeah, I didn't really understand much of this plot, partially because it's all in Japanese. But yeah, and there's definitely some overarching lore with the rest of the series. That's...
I see somebody mentioning that some of the no items are easy. They are. We'll get to that. But as it is right now, the bomb is just so strong at being able to avoid dodging situations. Like this pattern here is just pure straightforward dodging. But if you can just delete the bullets, you don't have to dodge them anymore.
Yeah, but we don't have that many bombs, so it helps if I start with dodging a little bit.
The pattern gets denser over time, so more bullets to deal with. So by dealing with the first phase yourself, you get to skip the second, third, and fourth phases. The reason the bomb is used over something like the camera, well, there's two reasons for that. One is it's better for this, and the other big reason is that, as mentioned, items level up, and the bomb is so valuable for some of the hardest scenes as by far the easiest solution to them, that we need to get it to max level kind of before those points happen. And that is one of the things about the routing for this that was so interesting, is trying to make sure that the strategy for any scene is easy enough to do reliably, while also making sure that things level up properly.
Yeah, like this stage I actually was not a fan of in practice. It was very difficult. Uh-oh, I think I was a little late on that bomb. Oh, but that worked out.
Yeah, the way it works is the walls kind of spawn from the side and then stop at your position at the point where they spawn. So that dash off to the side misdirects the first one, so there's plenty of space. And then after that, the bomb just does the job, and this should be enough.
Yep. That was actually cleaner than most of my practice runs. Alright, so this is one where I need to do fast shots.
Yeah, this is an attack that starts up very quickly, and so getting that bomb off early just matters, or else you're constantly behind the pace. This strategy is not 100% safe. The random bullets can spawn on you and just decide to hit you. There was a very good dodge there, like a very heads-up read to get out of the way of one.
Yep.
And the reason we do 4-5 and 4-6 before coming back for 4-2 is just so that the bomb's leveled up. This way we have the bomb leveled up for the next scene we're going to do, 4-3, which is otherwise a very big pain.
Yeah, that one's pretty easy. Oh my god. And this one's also pretty easy as well. Just gotta make sure you get the bombs off at the right time.
Yep. Because the bomb radius is larger, it clears the entire wave instead of just most of the wave. And it lets you focus entirely on maximizing your damage on Yuyuko here. And that's day 4.
Yep. And we can move on to day 5, where we get another set of 3 items. And this time it actually gives us the most powerful of the 3. So this is the, how do you say it?
Substitute Jizo?
Yeah. Oh. I'm just going to restart that.
Well, this day 5 actually gives you 2 of the strongest items. We'll see the other one in a little bit. One of the cool things that happened from the route is actually that every main item ends up being used at least once, which I thought was just very cool. That was not intentional, it just happened to work out that way. But yeah, the substitute Jizo makes it so that when you get hit, you don't actually die. So in this case, it's not about avoiding everything. You can get hit 3 times. And the way it levels up at first is it just increases the amount of invincibility time after you get hit. It starts out at 1 second and grows up towards 3 seconds, and then at the max level you get a 4th substitute. You survived that a very long time. That's quite impressive for like the amount of experience you have.
I was not focusing on dealing damage, which was definitely hurting that.
Stay alive first, deal damage second. I know I said earlier sometimes the best way is to just get something off screen as fast as possible, but sometimes just playing it a little safer is better. There's a little sound, like a faint humming sound in the background when the boss is low on health. And so 1 spare hit. Nice. And now we have access to every item, but it's still not time for clearing out everything we've skipped.
Yep, and that's because 6-1 also unlocks something very important.
6-1 unlocks the single most powerful thing in the entire game. But yeah, here we have just another orb scene. Like you can very clearly see it just bypasses the entire wave. Clearing the bullets would work too, but I mean the orb, it's so easy to deal with the timing on that.
I think that's the last we see the orb.
Yeah, it does get outclassed.
And then this one, if you stay just close to her feet, you're just pretty much safe.
Yep. It's not a 100% safe spot, but it works most of the time. Now's probably a decent time to mention that boss movement is random, but the horizontal direction is weighted towards whichever way you are. So there's a 1 in 3 chance that Ben would move away there, and 2 in 3 that she would move towards you. The vertical direction is random, and you can get rammed.
Yeah, and this one, the attacks actually just start pretty far away, so as long as you're close, you won't get hit by that initial wave, so you only need to worry about these guys that linger.
Yep. Sometimes you can just spawn graze a safe spot. And yes, that is a no item clear. A no item clear counts as a clear with every item. There's a few of those in the route, and in fact there's one that was specifically left behind so that it could count towards the day 5 unlocked items. So here's 6-1.
So this one, bunch of dialogue. It's basically saying, hey, you have 2 hands, you can hold 2 items. And so now we can have both a primary item and a secondary item. Every item has a primary and secondary ability, depending on which slot it's in.
Some of these secondary abilities are much, much better than others. For instance, this is the Yin Yang Orb secondary effect. It makes your hitbox smaller against lasers. That's it. It's a nice no item.
Yep.
So
That's good,
now,
actually. I forgot to check for that one, because that means I'll be able to do a faster strat later.
yes. Now we're going to do one more scene in day 6, just because the experience routing works out a little better if it's done now rather than later. We're taking the camera sub-item because that makes your unfocused speed much faster, so it's way easier to react to this and get out of the way.
I'm a little late on that bomb, but
Should be fine.
Should still be fine. Yeah.
Nice. And now it's time for the backtrack.
Hardest level in the game.
4-4.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Like,
This is I think
I think
something
this
like
is just where the
poison
run
claw,
ends.
poison murder. Like how are you supposed to
dodge
deal
all
with
of
this?
I think this
Oh
is
right,
just
it's
impossible.
static. Well, technically it's aimed, so you just hold down, you sit at the bottom center, and you win.
No, I think it's just impossible.
True, it is impossible spell card.
Yep, and it's done.
That is
So that makes
as
for a
easy as
very
it looks.
easy no item clear. Alright. We're just gonna do that one for
Yep.
damage boost.
So the substitute Jizo allows you to take 1 hit with the minimum invincibility time. Only 1 hit, but sometimes that 1 hit is all you need, like here. It allows you to reverse Sega's direction immediately and thus not have to play around with that, and you can just delete her bullets and win. Is this gonna get enough damage?
Yep, just barely.
Nicely done.
Alright. And so now I'm gonna do a really quick no item, because we get the doll sub, which doubles the number of bullets and increases the spread. But if I just sit right on top of her head, I'm able to do a bunch of damage real quick before she's even able to get that big fire shot off. Making for a very quick one.
Head sitting is incredibly strong. It is the reason...
I was too late on that bomb.
Head sitting is the reason a lot of these scenes are even practical for even some of the very best players to no item. Everything has been done without it, but some of them are just so difficult. But yeah, at this point, we are at the early game cleanup phase. At this point, because we've saved this for later, we're getting experience on the items we need for the end of the game. This is kind of the mid-game. We've reached all the items, now it's time to level them up. Which means things are a little overpowered for the early game.
Yeah. And that's all of day 1. And then
Now it's
this
time.
one...
This is the Ghastly Send-Off Lantern. When you use it, it makes you invincible for 8 seconds at first. 8 seconds is all you need.
Yeah.
In this one particular instance, it is just much more convenient to do that than use the substitute Jizo's invincibility. At max level, the Jizo is strictly better. But at
and
early
since I got the
levels,
full clear on 6-1, I can go for a faster strat here.
ooh, I thought that was going to hit you.
I was a little slow on that one, but it still worked out. Oh yeah. And there's this one, which is actually quite fun if you can get it. I'm using a slightly slower pattern here, just because it lets me get a few more shots in.
There are several very funny strategies you can do on this. Oh, that's so little health.
I guess that did work. That confused me for a second there. Yeah.
So we're on 3-5, Jizo plus doll. This is where we're going to start seeing what is generally considered the easiest way of clearing scenes. But you still have to find enough scenes that you can use to level up the Jizo to get to that point. Because right now, the invincibility time is not that long. It's long enough to soak that one, but all the endgame stuff, not really.
Do you want to explain how this one works? Because this one took me a while to understand.
Yeah, so this is based on survival cards or timeout cards generally, where the only way to win is to run down the timer. But that would be too easy if it was just run down the timer. So this also escalates over time and eventually adds in a blue phase of fireballs. So the way you want to do it is to carefully shoot it down, and then Moko resurrects with this massive blue burst of fast fireballs, which is where the bulk of the difficulty comes from. And that burst gets longer every time she does it, too. And then from there, hopefully it's enough to just tank the hit and then survive the last 10 seconds and win the pattern. Very well done.
Right.
So now it's time for Bomb and Bomb. The Bomb sub-item clears bullets around you when you use it. And what that lets you do is it lets you kind of cancel the start of this wave and then also use that same bomb to cancel the next wave. So this first bomb is now canceled 2 waves, and from there you can then cancel every wave in turn, and then it dies. Oh, that was close. This is a tricky one. I remember when I was routing this, it took me a while to even hit on Bomb. But I really do like that this shows just how useful some of these niche mechanics can actually be. That should do it if you can... No, you won't even have to deal with the reds. Nice. And that's
yeah, sometimes I have to deal with the reds there, sometimes I don't. Let's see. Yep, 5-2. And this one's doll.
Yeah, it's time to show off another main item, the Cursed Decoy Doll. The way this works is, after you place it, the boss thinks that you are where the doll is for the duration of the doll. And this is one of the big 3 itemless scenes, so imagine if you had to do this fairly. Like, let's just not play fair. You do still have to deal with the notes, and the notes are quite erratic. And then you also do have to deal with the repositions. That was a very good awareness to go to the side immediately. Because it's not enough to just, like, if a doll runs out and you go to the side, you have to be proactive in doll replacements, or you're going to get stuff aimed at you.
Yeah. And on that one, it's basically instant death for me, because it's just basically impossible to survive that X attack.
Yeah, that is the one that took me the most attempts to no item. So it is as bad as it looks. Gizo doll kills this in 3 waves. There is a safe spot here in the center of the ring, but you don't need to worry about going for it because there's just enough damage.
Yeah.
And now it's time for 5-5. Now we are going to be leaving behind 5-8. And the reason for that is 5-8 is one of kind of the hard scenes.
It's horrible.
There's not really any way around having to deal with it, right? And so it's better to come back at max level items later as kind of a second backtrack. An optimized route for this, that's just going purely for speed, would not need to do that. But if you just want consistency or an approachable route, then there's no shame in leaving stuff for later. And this one is also a bit of a pain. It's based on the most infamous spell card from double dealing character, Social Upheaval Requiem, except this one's actually easier than the version in that game. And I do see, isn't 5-8 just normal dodging in the chat? It is. But that's the problem. It's just normal dodging, and there's no way around the normal dodging. Oh, that was very lucky notes. You love to see it.
Finally through that one. Yep.
No. And now it's time to continue progressing into day 6.
Scroll down to my notes. Means we're almost at the halfway point. Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Did the doll.
Yeah, you'll notice that the doll's duration is now a little bit longer. The reason all the no items were done was actually just to get the doll 1 level higher so it lasts for 15 seconds instead of 12. Because it makes this scene a lot easier than it otherwise would be. Yeah, even good timing on the spacing there. The worst thing that can happen is the doll runs out while Aya is aiming her camera, because she will suddenly snap to aiming at you.
It seems like it's like a smooth transition, so if it's pretty late in that transition, it can still work out pretty well.
Yes, but it's spooky.
Yeah, and I have this one in my notes as no headset. Yes, you don't need it for damage, and the way she moves is a little more consistent if I just kind of take a corner over here.
The way she moves, if you headset, you will get rammed. Because she moves to a little bit above your position, and that's actually very exploitable in a lot of different ways.
Yep,
Now it's time for 6-4, another headset scene. That's probably still fine, honestly.
I've had issues when I do that on some of these scenes. Yeah, this one, as long as I like dodge this kind of first wave like that.
Yeah.
And then this happens, so I need at least one damage boost there.
Yeah. You get a little bit overwhelmed, and then the health bar is low enough that you don't get overwhelmed again. We move on to 6-5, which is the only appearance of Momiji in this game. She's kind of a menace, except for the fact that you can just delete everything threatening about this. So what you're not seeing is a giant laser burst coming out of the center there. That is it's stupid. It's literally unreactable. And honestly, very nice job dodging this high to get a little extra shotgun damage.
Yep, and now we have 2 doll ones, which is...
Yep. This one has a lot of health, so hopefully nothing spooky happens on this boss movement. Oh, that was a pure horizontal. That was beautiful luck.
Yep, and then this one, I find it works a little better if I put it more center screen. Because if she doesn't take a photo for long enough, she'll start doing a different attack as well. Yeah, that right there.
These arrowheads. The way this works is every time Aya gets close to you, she just tries to take a photo. But because she thinks you're where the doll is, she's constantly trying to take photos of nothing. That's day 6.
Yep. And then another doll here. And this one just starts with a giant laser, because why not? Oh.
Yeah, the aiming on this laser is towards where you are at the start of the wave, so as soon as that charging effect starts. And by placing, so that means the first wave is always down, and then by placing the doll above, basically every other wave is going to be up, and it reduces the pattern to just these stars. Which, these stars do not have friendly hitboxes. They are deceptively large. And even though there's no doll, because of the massive delay on the firing, it's no problem.
Yep. 7, 2.
So here's Sakuya. Her gimmick is time stop. Fortunately, it's reasonably nice here. She dashes to your position, sets up a bunch of knives, and she's so nice. She'll set them up only for them to get deleted a moment later.
Yeah, if I time the bomb right, I can take out 2 waves at once, which makes this a lot easier.
Yeah, just like earlier, the bomb being able to take out 2 waves is a huge boon. Like, look at that. How much dodging was required for this scene, and it took almost 40 seconds on the in-game timer? None.
3.
So now 7-3. We have Yomu. Yomu's my favorite character in the series. I had to mention it.
I ended up doing a slightly different strategy here than what IHNN had suggested, and that's because this one I just found a little too difficult, and so I figured out my own way. So this is not going terribly well right now, but nope.
Yeah, you can do this by either spinning around or by dodging the lanes. Both methods work. Like, when I'm doing it, I'll typically try to micro the lanes, but sometimes I'll just go for a circle, depending on what I see. The important part is just being able to last long enough to outlive this really large health bar.
Yeah, this one and a similar one that happens later are definitely struggles for me to figure out. I'm just gonna use that one.
Yeah, the positioning of the slash star laser thing is, I believe, static relative to Yomu's position.
Yeah.
So if you're too low, like here, it can just slash you, but it can be a little harder to deal with being up higher. Part of why spinning can be effective, because then you can just be higher and not deal with trying to get in that one little triangle. But clearly, the little triangle works, and I hadn't even realized that.
The little triangle is great because the slash attacks also get rid of the orbs. So if you're in that triangle, you're just safe. Okay, 7-5.
7-5. Another Marisa scene. The way this one works is actually pretty funny. There's a maximum height that Marisa can go to, and the first few sparks that she does here will kind of bring her to that height, which means you can completely safely headset at that height.
Yeah.
You don't even need to place a second doll when it lasts 15 seconds, which is nice.
Yep.
Now 7-8. The first appearance of Sanai. This day it kind of has 4 of the main protagonists. Is it every character that's been playable in 2+ games, 3+? I don't know. It's a lot of the primary characters just all showing up at once.
Yeah, this is another one where I kind of figured out my own strategy for. I think you had suggested bomb to get up some bomb XP, but I just didn't find it very useful. So I just do the Jizo there to kind of damage boost through that one and take a different strat for bomb.
Anything works. So now we are on day 8. There's only 10 days, so we are approaching the end, but
we still have a lot of
definitely get a little tricky.
So this one's a lot like VII, I believe.
Yes.
But the bullets are smaller, they move slower, and I think they're just easier to dodge overall.
Yeah, it's slower but denser, and that is definitely something that is, I think, easier to pick up. Also, as a fun thing, the character here, Shinyomaru, has history with Seisha, because she was the final boss of the double dealing character. And her whole thing is make things small. But here's Reimu.
I always get hit by that for some reason.
Nice micro. Yeah, again, bomb just kind of carries here. Bomb carries so hard.
This one I don't quite balance for damage the way I should, so I have to kind of take some safety strategies. So the main thing I end up doing here is I need to survive a little bit of her shooting wave from down here, and I just tap until she's gone.
Hey, it works. You get enough damage before you need it. Yeah. That's really all that matters.
I'll go ahead and do this one now, since I have the max level bomb.
Yeah, max level bomb is important to be able to cancel enough waves here. These individual waves can be pretty vicious. And you'll notice that LRFLEW is going a little off to the side on each of these shotguns, like going up, to hit with the middle shots and then 3 side shots.
Oh!
If you're not head sitting, that's about the most damage you can get, and that's pretty good.
If you have a moment, I could pop in the donation quickly.
Sure.
We got a $2 donation from Eros saying, "Hey guys, Eros here. Let's donate to Simina Wario cosplay. I have the stash that loves and the garlic ready. Let's meet the incentive and let's reach 1.2k by the end of the day." Now I can agree with that. I think we can reach 1.2k by the end of this run. That's only $40.
And so this one was kind of my safety strat, which was I can do this with just 3 bombs if necessary. Oh, I almost did it there.
Yeah. If you have the 4th, might as well use it, honestly. But also, if you're more practiced at trying to 3, then that works too. This is humans are nice.
Yeah. You know, going into this, I was like, Toho kind of scares me. I'm not sure I really want to play it. But then after doing this stage, I kind of decided, I should really play Undertale. Oh, late on that one.
Yeah. And nice.
And only use 3 bombs.
Also do 8-5.
Yeah, I decided to do it a little out of order.
Makes sense. So this one is as simple as just place the decoy position and you win.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm not entirely sure what the attack pattern is here. Because
this is
do that.
persuasion. It's based on player Reimu's shots because she usually has a forward needle shot and another option for homing shots, or in this case the glow balls are probably Fantasy Seal, a common bomb. Anyway, here's the umbrella. It lets you screen wrap. That's a really, really niche ability, but it solves this.
think I just barely missed the umbrella there.
The sub-items don't really help a ton here, so we go with the Jizo just to allow one mistake. And it's so convenient that Kaneko moves out of the way because it means you can do this one by literally only moving down if you're lucky.
Yeah, this one I feel like I have to use the umbrella at like the exact right time, or it's just, yeah, that.
Yeah, the timing's a little tight. I like to look at the top of the screen for when it's a good time, because the window at the top is, it's decently sized.
I usually do it based on when she does her yellow attack.
Ooh.
Because if I do it before that, she will aim upwards and just messes the whole thing up.
As Anna has mentioned, you can hold the umbrella to stay in the gap for longer, but that costs you damage time. You kind of want as much damage time as you can get. Because it is a little tight to actually get enough there with the 7 umbrellas you have. Now it's time for
And also I'm panicking too much to really think about doing that.
And now it's time for some just Jizo doll stuff. We're still at the point in the game, or I should say now we're at the point in the game where health bars are, or the Jizo's leveled up enough to deal with a health bar, and the health bar is not too large to have essentially outscaled the Jizo. Nice.
Yep.
Yep.
There's this one, which I kind of struggle with sometimes.
This is a rare case of not needing to headset to get max damage because you can just shoot the boat.
Yeah.
And because you can shoot the boat and be constantly shooting the boat, you just have so much time to shoot it.
Oh yeah, this one. I feel like I've had to try to figure out a balance between like focusing on the lessers and actually dealing damage.
Oh, you can.
I don't think I ever figured out that
You can
balance.
win by just focus the lessers. When you shoot them down, they do damage to Suika directly. So you just literally just focus them down the entire time and you win. The same is true for 9-8 as well.
Now I've got a bomb for this one.
Yeah, have max level bomb for 8-4. We might as well use it on anywhere it's helpful, like right here.
Get that one a little early, yeah, but I could just dodge. I can just hit next level, but often I just forget to do that.
Yeah, especially with this route and how often it changes items or goes out of order. It's a lot less important to try to go next scene compared to just trying to say Mallet plus Jizo half the game and just next scene, next scene, next scene, next scene.
That went better than it usually does in practice, but I'm not complaining.
No, this is very good so far.
I want to start with the headset. Oh, sometimes she does that.
Yeah, Futo's movement here is just so erratic.
Where did she go? There she is.
Hopefully we just get a big sideways move and not an up sideways move this time. There we go. that strategy can actually no-item the scene. I'm not sure if it's easier or not than trying to do it the normal way. So just like with 9-4, just focusing on the minis, entirely focusing on the minis. You can even keep any of them from shooting any bullets at all. And because you have Doll Sub, you're doing so much effectively spread damage that it just goes down in no time. Very close to a no item on that.
Yeah, much closer than I usually get.
Alright.
And that's day 9 complete. And the route has me do 10-5 for some reason.
10-5 is done here because it only needs 3 Gizos, not 4. So in the case of doing less Gizos or doing more, or like less no items at earlier points, then because you only need 3, then it can be the 20th experience point to get it to max level, where it now is. At this point, the leveling is done. It is purely a matter of clearing what's left. And at this point, we're going to go clear out basically everything we can with Gizo Doll, the things that it solves. This is another spawn point safe spot. Now you can move down into one more here, and then the pattern will end.
I just damage boost through this if I have enough Gizo. Alright, and now we backtrack.
Now that we have a max level Gizo, it's time for 5-8.
I quite hate this one.
This one is tough. The ideal scenario is they both move towards you at the start, and you can get a little extra damage. But the second ideal scenario is having 2 hits left for this phase.
Which I don't.
This is so much. You might think bomb helps, but it lasts too long for bomb to help. You might think that something else might help, right? It really doesn't. This is really just the way to go. Mallet is okay, but it gives you no room for error. This is very good. This should be enough.
Yeah, this is looking good.
Alright, that is day 5 fully cleared. So now it's time to finish up day 7.
Yeah.
All headsets from here.
Or at least a lot of headsets.
You can see that just having 4 hits that give you 3 seconds of invincibility every time, it's huge. It's so
Wrong
much.
level.
So the gimmick here is that Sakuya swaps places with you. Haha, very funny, we don't care. We maybe care a little.
Oh.
Yeah, the
I
boss
have in my
can't
notes a couple which is just like say dodge at the end because you will die.
I believe we have a term for what just happened.
Which term would that be?
DKO.
Yeah. Well, in this case, the boss has a hitbox, and you just kind of just inside the boss's hitbox at the end, which is dangerous. But you can get hit by bullets as they're fading away, too. And that is heartbreaking when it happens, especially on something difficult.
But you might remember this attack pattern from earlier.
Yeah, except now it's a little harder, but we also have a better Gizo, so... Clean, honestly.
Would we have time for a quick donation?
Sure, yeah.
We got $25 from Diston. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sorry couldn't take part as usual. Baby Dawn is on the way, so getting ready is hard. See you soon for my long overdue San Andreas run.
Yeah, so this is 8-3. This is if the cuckoo does not cry, wait for it to sing. The tagline, you can't rely on items alone. Very true. This was actually one of the 3 scenes that in the routing process I just could not find anything for. It really is just try to dodge that up high with the Viso. There's nothing better.
Yeah, I like that one. It's definitely not easy. This one's easy though.
Seja wins by doing absolutely nothing. No?
Oh,
Hey,
I think I was a little late on the headset.
Don't you have to spin the start of this? I guess not. You can spin the start of this to get a lot more damage and then just go for head sitting after that, or you can do a little bit of dodging at the end. I tend to favor getting the tricky part out of the way early, but hey, a clear is a clear. And that's it for day 8. It's only day 10 remaining. There are 9 scenes left. And day 10 is all final or extra bosses. Counting Yukari's extra, even though she's technically Phantasm. I know!
Yeah, 10-1 is kind of an odd one out for just...
It just happens that there's a safe spot at the head-sitting position. And it just happens that the hits are spaced out enough that you end up winning. So, yeah, 10-3 is good to go for. So here's Tenchi. She's kind of a pain. This was another one that routing-wise was quite tricky to find something. But it turns out that 4 bombs and head-sitting between waves are just enough to get it done without having to deal with the fireballs. It's very much a very timing-dependent and positioning-dependent scene, but when done right...
Oh, that was almost bad.
But when done right, you just get it. Well done.
Yeah. And then this one is pretty wild.
This one's insane, but the laser pattern is completely static. And so, by waiting 1 second at the top of the screen, this is important for literally 18 seconds later, having a good timing on a misdirect to be able to place the second doll, to have time to not deal with this aimed barrage of stars, and be able to move into a position where you can kill it with only something like 6 movements in total. So this is entirely about just finding a few visual cues and moving between those places.
Oh, I think that one is a little too far to the left, because her hitbox I think is a little bit wider just below where I stopped there.
Yeah, boss hitboxes are circular, I believe. I don't know this with 100% certainty, but I suspect it's true, just based on personal experiences. Yeah. And then this is actually a place where, for this final move, it's about going where the laser was. And hopefully it dies in time.
Yeah, this should just work. Usually once I get to this spot, it just works.
Yeah.
Right.
That scene is very difficult to figure out, but when you have a good route to follow, it can get pretty consistent. This is even true for no item on it. Anyway, here's 17 Article Constitution bombs. This is widely regarded as one of the hardest itemless scenes, for good reason.
I could believe that.
However, what bullets? There's even a very, very good visual cue for the bomb timing. When Miko puts her hand up, you press X. Goodbye.
I mean, that was even a fight? I mean...
She's trying to bomb you, you bomb her, it just works.
Now, you had figured out a strat for this kind of late. I had asked for help on this, and you'd figured this strategy out. I love this one.
This is a very funny strategy. With the right manipulation and the umbrella sub-item, which lets you use the umbrella's effect up to twice, you can do this entirely no horizontal. With decent cues for everything. And now we only just have the hard ones left, I'd say.
Yeah. These are the 4 ones that depend somewhat on luck. This is the easier of the 4, so hopefully I should just get this one.
Yeah, this is My Way is truly not of heaven. The mallet sub is used here to get an extra Gizo, and the reason we want the extra Gizo is because we don't care about doll sub. It's not useful here. It still takes 6 waves. So it's better to get the mallet sub for 1 extra Gizo hit, which makes it so you only have to dodge 1 out of 6 waves instead of 2 out of 6 waves. So it's still difficult to get that 1 wave, but you can definitely fluke a single wave.
I found in practice that unless I'm getting like perfect damage, I still need 2 dodges to get this done very well.
Yeah, but the way you can make sure it's 6 waves instead of having to get part of a 7th is when you're at a distance, making sure one of the side shots is still hitting. So being a little off-center so one of them hits instead of both of them missing. Do you have a chance here? Very nice. Good positioning. So the laser, like the reaction time on those lasers is quite tight. I frame counted it at one point. From the moment they finish extending to the moment that there's a hitbox, it is 20 frames. From the moment you can start potentially pre-reading it, it's 23.
I'm gonna try to do this in order of difficulty.
So here's 10-8.
We're kind of at the point where they're just all difficult.
Of the remaining scenes, 10-8, 10-10, and 10-4, 10-8 is the one that almost kept me from putting this in the draft pool at all. I just couldn't find anything. I tried so many different strategies. It just has so much health. But the bomb does a pretty good job.
Still requires a lot of dodging.
Yes, this is still a pretty high effort scene, but it is winnable. Just because you can bomb away every so often, but you just have to trust that the doll sub is going to deal with the keystones for you. You just have to trust, and that's hard to do. Like even when I know it, it's hard to do. Experienced Touhou players might be thinking, wait, this scene's a problem? Well, yeah. Like, the dodging for a high-level player is not particularly demanding, but it is prolonged, and there is a lot of it, and it is not trivial, especially to pick up at the beginning. So this is absolutely one of the big threats for a new player here.
When we are done with this scene, would we have time for a quick incentive update?
Sure, I mean, I think we have a little bit of time to read something now.
But yeah, if you're comfortable with that, I do have a important update for the WarioWare incentive for Eros to wear a full Wario cosplay. Horai's $50 donation has been manually assigned to that. The way we do it is we just lower the target by that amount. So we only need $9 more to meet that. So if you want to see Eros wear a full Wario costume during the WarioWare run, it's only $9 remaining. Go get it, man. Also, we are $15 away from $1,200 Canadian.
Ooh, good dodging there.
Yeah, I lost count. I usually try to do 4 blasts for a bomb.
That's
I just
exactly,
lost count, so I just kept dodging.
That is genuinely exactly what I came up with for the testing strategy. So that's really, really cool that that's coming out here too. And that's 10-8.
Woo!
Only 6 tries.
A lot less than practice usually.
Yeah, so here is Casebook of Luck, Resilience, and Perseverance. It's kind of a combination of 2 of Yukari's more iconic attacks, those being Boundary of Life and Death and Border of Wave and Particle. Her whole thing is borders. In this case, it's just here's a lot of bullets that layer on top of each other. It gets worse over time, and with any luck, we'll see a successful dodging of the first, 3 waves, and then as soon as you get hit, hopefully it's enough to just headset for the rest of it and win.
Most of my practice successes, I've done the headset and then gone back down to do a little bit more dodging.
That can work too. Yes, we did successfully survive to the hearts.
I'll try going for a little bit of headset.
It's gonna be close.
Nope.
Yeah.
I know it does get progressively worse. I don't know if it ever stops getting worse.
It does after, I think, 7 different layers. So yeah, this attack gets worse over time rather than damage, which is why this headset is so effective. And because it's a static starting orientation, she shoots straight up, you could just do a quick tap to the left side and get a ton of damage at the start. And it is effectively free damage if you can make the spin back down. And conveniently, it also avoids the densest part of the border of wave and particle part.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how possible that is without starting with that headset. Because it seems really dense at the start.
It's tight, but it's possible. But spinning is definitely just the way to go. Anna, if you want to see a risky route, go watch JWR Misa's run. It's quite cool. There's even some fun item combos in there that aren't seen here, like mallet plus bomb. Because the biggest drawback of the mallet is it kind of freezes you in place when you use it. So what if you cleared the bullets around you when you used it as a bit of protection?
Ah! Probably isn't going to work out either, but I'll give it a shot.
Nothing lost by trying. Close. Yeah, as far as like routing for the draft pool went, I knew that 10-10 and 10-4 were problems, but there were very much known quantities of problems.
Yeah.
I figured that, you know, it's possible to get somebody to deal with the first few phases of this and then be able to headset to win from there. Tricky, maybe not reliably, but they could definitely do it. 10-4. 10-4,
Yeah, I mean, we're still doing fine on estimate. I'm nothing to be worried about just yet.
One thing that I haven't mentioned, and I don't know if it's been used at all, because this has not really been a lot of dodging, is there's a little red marker at the bottom of the screen that shows the current boss position. And it glows a darker red when they move, which makes it easier to kind of track that from the bottom. It is a difficult skill to try to track that position. It's going to be tough.
No, that's not going to happen. I forgot to dodge.
Yeah, the damage, like, even though this is a long scene, the damage on it is still quite important. Just because it does get worse over time, so again, the sooner you get it off your screen, the easier it is. honestly, this game does have quite the difficulty spike going to day 10.
Is that time for a donation?
Sure.
Well, we just hit 1,200 Canadian dollars for community. Nice. we got a $15 donation from our very own Ceres, saying, "Great to see IC being this approachable. Good job to LRFLEW and IHN for this run. Also play scene games, everyone." And yeah, $1,200 for community. Nice job, everyone. We can definitely still hit 1,500 at the end of this event. We still have, the rest of the day and tomorrow. We can hit 1,500 this event. Let's go.
I'm starting to choke a little bit.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, one thing I see that is maybe not happening a lot here is during the dodging, staying under the boss. I can't even fault that because that is, again, a very difficult thing to learn, I think. I do see the pattern kind of pushing you off to the right side, which means a lot of the damage is being done with the side shots rather than the more damaging main shots.
Yeah, I tried to find kind of the right balance between like going in between the lines and taking the easier paths.
Yeah, this is a very good start.
Saw an opening, tried to go for it.
Oh, I
Did not
did
get
forget
spacing.
something, if I can say something really quickly in addition to that.
Sure.
That donation went towards the Wario World incentive. We have Eros in a Wario World costume. It's met. It's done. It's happening. Wario World costume and a garlic. So we'll get this added shortly because there's one additional thing that's going to be happening here. And this one's going to be hard, but I believe in all of you. Eros has said this is the final incentive for Eros' run. This is the trilogy here. We're gonna have a $250 target to upgrade Eros taking a bite out of a garlic to eat the entire garlic on stream. That was talked about earlier, so we'll get that added soon. But it's gonna be hard to reach, $250. But I believe in you. Can we get an entire garlic instead of just a bite out of a garlic?
That was a very close attempt as well.
Yeah, it was. If I hadn't taken damage that first one, I did.
I do think it's worth trying to move up as soon as you first get hit, because you are kind of giving up on 3 whole seconds of that max damage.
Okay, true, yeah.
Even if you get hit earlier than you want
and wanted to try to get a little bit of extra time, but...
Yeah, if you make it to the hearth, then it's worth going up immediately, I think. Yeah, because now it's going to die literally like 5 or 6 seconds faster than, yeah.
That was... almost.
Yeah,
that was a sliver.
Yep. And the interesting thing there is the timer was at 83 when you died. Your other late deaths have been at 81. So even though the other attempts were kind of living longer, they were getting less damage. It's always a trade-off on kind of playing it safe and doing damage. And again, like I said this a few times, it is a difficult skill to develop to know which is better in a given situation. While these games are a lot more approachable than they might seem, they also do go really, really deep. That's a phenomenal opening.
I don't know if it's enough to head sit the whole time, but that was definitely very good. Alright, just got into a safe spot.
Yeah, this is extremely winnable.
As the folks would say, nah, I'd win.
As the other folks would say in response, nah, I'd spin. Those globulets are almost never a threat, but they were a problem twice there. That is nasty.
Yeah, I saw it just a fraction of a second too late to dodge.
But that first dodge after coming down was a very, very good read. Genuinely, there's a chance I would have missed that.
I lost track of where I was there for a second.
I think that was the 1 hour playtime achievement.
That's actually not too uncommon to like lose track of where you are in Toho. It happens to like all skill levels. So no worry about that, LRFLEW. Like with so much going on the screen, like at any skill level, that happens to everyone.
Yeah, just a momentary lapse and then you're just lost and it's just over. It's part of why, in this game specifically, all the hard scenes are the long ones. Like, not just because you can choose the shorter ones more easily, but you just have to be consistent for so much longer and not lose track like that.
This is definitely doable, just gotta do it.
Yep. I will say I'm very impressed with how this has gone for being totally new to the series and the genre generally. When I learned things, it was definitely nowhere near this graceful. I know it might not feel like that, but believe me, it is. This one had a lot of side times. There's a lot of health left. Oh! That looked like the right read. Was that just an overtap? Oh, that was so close. micro. That might be enough to stick to the headset. I'm not confident on that though.
It's close. Ah.
No!
No!
I forgot I was holding shift.
Oh,
Oh, I just gotta do that again. It's okay.
that was such a good start. Then after this, there's still 10-4. Good old Fitful Nightmare. Good damage on this one.
Ah, that was just a bad spot for that heart.
The hearts can be a little clippy. I believe all bullet hitboxes are circular, but of course, like, hearts are not circular, and so the hitbox is kind of a little weird for them.
Oh, this is such good damage.
Yeah.
Should I just try to stay on the head for this one?
I don't know.
No!
No, we should have moved down.
It could have worked with a bit better following. But again, it's not super easy to follow the boss movement, especially with how cluttered the top of the screen is. But I feel like the attempts are getting deeper more often right now. Like, you really do tend to lock in on a pattern when you keep doing it, I find. Either that or you completely lose it and then you just go take a break. Hey, Fitful Nightmare is right there if you need one. If you can call Fitful Nightmare a break.
Deep breaths. I don't know what I was doing there. Went the other way. Trying to get back over to deal more damage and...
Since we have hit the estimate, do you want to like grab us for like 2 more minutes and then maybe perhaps skip this one?
Maybe, yeah.
And then try 10-4 for a bit. Who knows, you might get 10-4 immediately and then just get to come right back.
True.
Oh, this is good. This is good. Remember to move down.
Or you can win! Just win. It's that simple.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah, so here's Fitful Nightmare. This is by far, I think, the hardest scene to get a clear of in the entire game. It's not particularly close. It is fast.
I think that's enough knives. Too many knives.
And if you think this part is fast, I think most of the people watching know this already, but if you don't, it's Fitful Nightmare. The tagline is 12-second nightmare. When you see it, remember that it lasts for 12 seconds.
It's this. I don't think I got that.
You lived long enough that
but
I think
I'll at least show it off.
If you can ride for a little bit, you'll be fine.
I've tried riding, it's worse.
Okay.
It's worse than trying to just get the no-hit.
That was extremely close to living long enough already.
Yeah. I just wanted to show off what I was up against. Because if you're wondering why I'm resetting on every single hit here when I have 4 hits,
that's why. You need every single one of them. And you might think, wait, didn't we see Mallet sub earlier? Couldn't you get a 5th hit and soak that hit? Yeah. If you want to deal with this entire section twice and turn it into a damage race, I guess you could do that. As for no item, use spin. And it's a very, very precise spin.
Yeah, this is why I say people who do no item in this game are crazy. I had looked up, actually, at one point when I was really struggling with just getting the CD once. And I looked up on YouTube to see if someone had, like, a video of alternate strats, and I saw a no-hit, or no-item one, and I was just like,
Yeah, the really, really nasty thing is that it's not just getting the spin, it's also a damage race. You have to dodge this very high up in order to maximize your damage to kill it before a second spin. When I did this, I failed twice by being just short on damage.
I think this is
that
good.
might be it.
This is good.
Yeah, I do not know how I got that, but I did. I'm not getting the headset perfectly, but
it's fine.
No.
Oh, I was a little low. I always forget where her hitbox is underneath the blanket of white. Yeah, this is one where I have to figure out where to look, because if I look too high, I'm dodging things unnecessarily, and if I look too low, I don't have time to react.
I think that reason you should have played that out, because I think you stayed below her for a long period of time. I think that would have worked.
It's not about the initial damage, it's just purely about surviving the 12 seconds.
Yeah. Because you cannot deal enough damage quickly enough.
With the headset strategy, the damage is not really that much of a problem. It's just surviving. Because you get so much for free during that part. And there's really no alternative strategy for this. Like, a lot of the rest of the game, there's so many creative strategies you can pull. There's so much you can do. There is no way around this. I do think that if you get hit once late, it is worth trying to ride the lane at least a little bit. Just because there is that one spot where if you hold right, you just ride for 2 seconds or something. It just gives more attempts a chance.
Yeah, I never quite figured out where exactly that spot was. I tried doing the side ones where, like, I tap down, but...
Oh, no, the side is so much narrower. That's the hard part of the spin. I speak from experience. That is the part that took me the longest to get down. But going up the right side especially.
Yeah, the knives, at least in part of this, are RNG, from what I can tell.
Yes, it is a completely random angle, but it is kind of a ring that adds 1 knife every few fires. And then it also increases the speed, because of course it does. Once it gets to the spin is actually the same orientation literally every time. it doesn't actually help as much as you might think to know that.
What it means is I just have to get lucky.
This scene specifically, like being able to get through that is almost everything I've done with this game, routing wise. Being easier than this strategy is kind of the benchmark, because this is kind of the skill, like the required, the ceiling of required skill. Because there's just, like I said, there's no way around it. Other items are just all less effective than this. Nice clippy hitbox. Remember, hitboxes are circles, and is a knife a circle? Last I checked, it's not.
I think that was one of those cases where I tried to dodge and ended up going into a knife.
Happens, especially on fast things, and especially fast where there's a speed change. It is a little insidious that the speed picks up, because then, like, it's not just that the pace accelerates over time. When it speeds up, there's a bit of a wave overlap too. That one might have been winnable.
It might have been, but, I mean, if I can make it, I usually don't fail once I make past the, no-hit part.
Yep. Because you do get to just sit there and do a bunch of damage, and then you just have to deal with the start again for a little bit. It's possible to die there, but it's usually nerves. Oh, that's so good. Is this it?
I think so.
I hope so.
Oh! Split second off.
Familiar being an absolute nightmare. Where have I seen this before?
Scarlet Weather Rhapsody?
Good point. We're really trying to not say the B word on stream here, are we?
I was definitely worried about getting frustrated in this run.
Yeah, like if you feel like
something, but
if you feel like you want to like cut it off, that is absolutely your choice, of course, right? If you feel like you can't pull this off, it is fair to say we're skipping this and we call the run. That is up to you, of course.
I've gotten close enough times. I want to just get this done if I can.
I believe.
But I also understand if at a certain point I just need to be cut off, but come on.
Yeah, if
hopefully
it gets
I can
to
get
that
this
point,
before that happens.
Yeah, if it gets to that point, as you said, you have the replay to show that you have done it. It's like, here's what it would look like if I got it here.
I think that point would be in like 7 minutes or so. So soft, you know, like we approach it, like that would be like 1:35 on the timer, so 20 minutes over estimate.
I mean, this also does show that the difficulty curve, like so much of the time on this is concentrated on the hardest part.
Hold, this is good.
This might not be just
you
enough
might need to try
dodge,
to back down and ride a little bit. Yeah, you would have had to, I think.
Yeah,
every
there's a
time I
lot
tried
of
to do
health
it,
left
that's
there.
what happens. It's like I
Yeah.
survive long enough, but it just I get hit because the knives last too long.
Yeah, it is a bit of a nasty overlap, or it's an evil choice. You can either commit to staying at the headset, and if you didn't live long enough, you are guaranteed dead. Or you can back down, and then you have to survive longer than you otherwise would, which means there's a narrow range where you would live long enough, but by not committing to it, you die anyway. It is... Yeah, it's a rough choice. I can see why you would want to commit to just sticking with the headset the whole time.
That was close.
I also want to mention that like this got to 73 clears in something like an hour. So like it really is so backloaded. That's it.
Oh.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't choke.
Come on.
Oh, I did not deal enough damage.
There was a lot of time dodging off to the side. But, oh, that was so close. You got this.
I thought I had that gap. I didn't.
Since we're at like 131, like 40 roughly right now, do you want to say fixed amount of attempts for me? Say 10 more attempts?
Okay.
Don't think we need it!
I think that was a little late. Or a little early on that damage.
Commit, I think. Please. Please.
No, so close. Alright, 9. But yeah, Toho is hard. Like, newcomer and, experienced players all like, because Toho has this, effect that at any skill level you can find a challenge that will be extremely hard for you.
You can always find something to push yourself. Or always find something that you know you can do. You just have to do it. Just get it, please. Just work. Like, there's always something.
Yeah.
It is a genre that goes as deep as you're willing to take it.
Like, for full game survival, especially, there's always, if you go to, the level of, Lunatic No Bomb, there's always the, you can always push your miscount further down and down. It's gonna take you ages to get a... It's going to take ages to even reach the level of clearing a game, a full game Lunatic No Bomb, and then you can push it further down in Miscon. That's going to take you another ages, right? But eventually, if you keep progressing, then you might be like, oh my god, I can actually lunatic perfect this game at some point. And then if you manage to do that after another month, possibly a year of practice and runs and everything, well,
Want to see me do it again?
Yeah, you have Alan in one game. There's just 13 others. I think I've lost count of the attack. I think we're like at the count. I think we're at 5 left.
Something.
Yeah. Might not need it. Oh,
That's
this has
it.
gotta be it.
That will live long enough. 100%. Oh. And that was a lot more time under Remilia, so look at how little health is left.
Don't choke.
That is impossible spell card.
I think this is time. Yeah, on the screen.
That is time.
Woo!
Woo!
I mean,
And the
like
screen
it
says,
says,
congratulations!
Congratulations.
Something, thanks for playing. That's about the extent I can read.
very well done.
We did it. What an awesome run, LRFLEW.
My arms are shaking a little bit from that.
You did it. You completed ISC on stream.
Woo! Just a little overestimate.
You did
No
it.
worries, no worries.
Like this is a category where being able to complete it is one thing, being able to complete it in one sitting is another. And for a total newcomer, the fact that you did that, like the strats go a long way, but there's, as you saw, there's no substitute for being able to do those last few. Very well done and congratulations.
Yeah, this run was a lot of fun. Definitely not something I would have picked up otherwise. Am I gonna run another Toho game? No, absolutely not. But this was definitely a lot of fun.
I mean, when I came back to Toho, I had like when I was like 14, 15 years old, I had a Lunatic 1cc in Toho 6. And when I started playing Toho again, like 12 years later, basically. And I couldn't even clear normal anymore. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get a normal clear and then I'm done with. Well, that turned into, oh, I can clear hard. That turned into, oh, I can clear Lunatic again. That turned into, oh my god, I can Lunatic no bomb. And
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if you want to try...
The Toho games are not, aside from this and maybe the other scene games, not particularly interesting speedruns, but they're fun games. And, you know, good to try new things sometimes.
You want to go back to the main menu so we can have some music?
Oh, right. So I
And we don't get to
just
see the
wanted to
in-game
hang on
time.
that screen because it's like I don't get to see it
bask
often.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you hit game start here, you'll be able to see the 75 scenes cleared.
Yeah.
Yeah, in an hour 24 in-game time.
All right, we are running
a
a little bit behind on schedule, so let's keep this brief. Seriously, thank you, LRFLEW, for running this. Do you stream?
I don't really stream that often, but if you check out my Twitch or my YouTube, just LRFLEW, I tend to do kind of obscure speedruns at times. I like kind of just finding weird things to run. Yeah, and thanks IHNN for definitely figuring out the route and helping with all the stuff along the way when I was having trouble. Is there anything
no
you want to
problem.
shout out real quick?
Shout out Toho Replay Showcase. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Thank you for watching.
thank you for showcasing this to us. Thank you, Aichen, for teaching LRFLEW a Toho game in the main speedruns that are cool. And yeah, we will be right back. And after a very short break, hopefully, we will have a Dead Rising for all of you by Costellar. So don't go anywhere.
Still as a breeze, a river flowing deep. Don't wanna leave the air you breathe. Living me dreams when I think of you and me. Don't wanna leave the world you see, and I will hold you
All right, everyone. Well, that was an awesome run. I'm really glad we did manage to finish it. Woo! Let's go. Oh my god. You cannot underestimate how difficult like a Toho game learning that as a newcomer is, even with like routes and everything. You saw the end of it, you saw how fast that goes, and the fact that LRFLEW managed to pull it off at the end there on the final scene, that is amazing. Well done, well done. Alright, we are getting ready for Dead Rising here. We're gonna run a short ad break here. And then after that, we will be back. We should already be all good to go and set up. So we just take a quick search break so everyone has some time, to get water, to get hydrated. If you leave the ads running in the background, you actually support QMUNITY, because all the money we make from ads, subs, bits, everything from Twitch, everything post-tax profits, really important. So everything DJ makes in profits after tax and everything, that gets donated to QMUNITY. So if you sit for the ads and let the Twitch player run the ads, you are indirectly supporting QMUNITY. All right, we'll be right back, and then we'll have Dead Rising for you. Alright everyone, welcome back to Speedromizer 7, the marathon where what you submit is not what you run. Unfortunately, this has concluded my one and only hosting shift for the event. No worries, I am leaving the hosting station in the very, very capable hands of Spyron. So, Spyron, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, George. My goodness me, a man who works hard with, I hear 36,000 monitors on his desk. Amazing, crazy things. He runs all the tech. It's incredible. And it's also supported by the many volunteers of Speedromizer. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in. My name is Spyron. Hello to everyone around the world tuning in to Speedromizer 7. This is day 4. We're closing out day 4 with some excellent runs. And we've got another one coming up very soon with Dead Rising. But just before we get to that, I would of course like to remind everyone that this is a charity marathon where all the proceeds raised will go directly to QMUNITY. QMUNITY is British Columbia's queer, trans and two-spirit resource centre that are working towards a province where all two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer intersexual, and asexual people can live free from harm and discrimination, regardless of age, location, or circumstance. If you would like to donate to QMUNITY, you can visit the Tiltify campaign at speedromizer.live/donate, and you can also find the donation link below the stream, as well as typing !donate in the chat to bring it up. Again, all your donations are sent directly to QMUNITY. Thank you so much.